Imagine a child takes its first breath inside an American hospital. The parents might be here on a tourist visa, a temporary work permit, or perhaps they have no legal documents at all. For over a century and a half, the legal status of that child has been straightforward. That baby is instantly an American citizen. The legal doctrine behind this is called jus soli, the right of the soil. It means that physical presence inside the borders of the United States at the exact moment of birth is the only qualification that matters. It is an idea woven deeply into the national identity, a promise that anyone, regardless of their family's past, can become a full member of the American community simply by being born on its soil. On January 20th, 2025, the very first day of his second term, President Donald Trump signed an executive order designed to end that exact promise. If enforced, the policy meant that hundreds of thousands of children born in the U.S. to non-citizens would suddenly be born stateless. They wouldn't be American, and in many cases wouldn't belong to their parents' home countries either. This map shows a stark reality. The U.S. is one of only 32 countries, mostly in the Western Hemisphere, that grant automatic citizenship by location. European nations, on the other hand, require a child to have a parent who is a citizen or legal resident. The executive order was a calculated attempt to pull the United States away from its own historical tradition and force it into that more restrictive, heritage-based European model. Without citizenship, these children would have no legal standing, creating a self-perpetuating class of people locked out of social participation for generations. To understand the foundation of this right, we look back to 1868. The country had just survived a brutal civil war. Slavery was abolished, and lawmakers had to define exactly who belonged to the nation. They settled the matter with an 11-word phrase in the 14th Amendment. All persons born or naturalized in the United States are citizens. The first major test of those words came in 1898, when the government tried to deny citizenship to Wong Kim Ark, a man born in San Francisco to Chinese immigrants. The Supreme Court rejected the government's argument, stating directly that the Constitution protects the children of all persons, no matter their race, color, or origin. That ruling held firm even under immense pressure. During World War II, when Japanese Americans were treated as enemy aliens and forced into detention camps, their children, born on American soil, were still automatically recognized as citizens. Through racial exclusion laws and wartime panic, the right of the soil survived without bending for over a century. That unbroken streak faced a massive constitutional challenge in 2026, when the legal fight over the executive order, known as Trump v. Barbara, arrived at the steps of the Supreme Court. The administration's defense rested on a specific phrase hidden inside the 14th Amendment, subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Government lawyers argued that an undocumented immigrant does not owe full allegiance to the United States. They cited the economic costs of birth tourism and insisted that children of non-citizens should not inherit an automatic right to belong. The ACLU countered that the post-war framers intentionally wrote the text to protect the child. A newborn infant, they argued in court, cannot possibly be held liable for the legal status of its parents. The court was faced with a stark choice about American values. Should the nation demand proof of parental allegiance, or does it wipe the slate clean for the next generation? On June 30th, 2026, the court delivered its answer. In a 6-3 decision, the justices emphatically struck down the executive order. Chief Justice John Roberts wrote the majority opinion, affirming citizenship is the right to have rights. He concluded that the framers of the amendment deliberately chose to confer that right upon the child, independent of the parent. This line chart illustrates what would have happened otherwise. Research projected that eliminating birthright citizenship would cause the unauthorized immigrant population to surge by 2.7 million people by 2045, because an entire generation would lack a legal pathway. Hours after the ruling, the president criticized the decision and demanded that Congress pass new federal legislation to restrict citizenship. But a Supreme Court ruling solidifies this as a constitutional guarantee. It cannot be undone by a simple law or a presidential pen. Removing it would require amending the Constitution itself, a monumental feat never accomplished to strip away a right once granted. Just 4 days later, fireworks lit up the sky as the United States celebrated its 250th birthday. While the political battles over who gets to claim this identity will surely continue, the legal foundation remains exactly as it was. The nation enters its next quarter millennium holding fast to a rare unifying premise. Where your family comes from does not dictate your future. Where you are born does. The highest court in the land reaffirmed a simple truth. If you take your first breath on American soil, you are American.